to Miss Hallelujah. Okay, so do you want to kind of share what you have prepared for a few minutes, and then me and Marquet can finish it up? Yeah.
Yep. So today we wanted to talk about developing leaders. And this is really where Crystal and I and Angie have struggled. This is why we didn't grow. This is why we fell back for so long, is because we didn't know how to develop and find leaders. And we obviously have learned this now with Momentum Movement and a lot of the other stuff we've been doing. And we want you guys to grow. And so this is why we decided it was important. So the number one thing I can tell you that was a game changer for me, and Crystal, and you can chime in too, was learning to be bold enough to ask the questions. For a long time, I was like, oh, I don't want to ask people to share because I don't want to be pushy. And if they like it, they'll just do it on their own. Because Crystalline was the fourth person I ever signed up. And before, we got her set up, and it was literally 10 minutes later, she was like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited to try this on Facebook. And I was like, oh, okay, this is what we're doing. So that was really my only experience with someone sharing, is she took the initiative and did it herself. And so asking someone to share was a total new, I don't know how to do that. And we've learned that it's not even, it just starts right off the bat, little drips of, like Kathy said, just you're turning up, you're putting the frog in the pot, and then you're slowly turning up the water. So it starts when I sign someone up. I tell them, hey, you're getting 3 free samples. Is there anyone right off the bat, a sister, a best friend, a mom, someone you think would love to do this with you right from the get-go? And most of the time they say no, and that's okay, because I've introduced that thought to them. They say, no, not right now. And I say, oh my gosh, that's totally fine. There's no pressure. Just know that you have those samples to give out once you get started. And then I get they get their product, and my follow-up is like, oh my gosh, you got your stuff today. I'm so excited. What do you think of the pink drink? What do you think of the taste? And they say, oh, it's so good. I was skeptical, but it tastes so good. And lots of times I will have someone say, it's only been a couple days, but I'm already noticing more energy. And then I can say something like, oh my gosh, that's so awesome. Increased energy in just a couple of days is amazing. Who else do you think could use extra energy? You have those 3 samples. Is there anyone coming to mind? No, there's not yet. Okay, that's totally fine. I'm so happy for you. I can't wait to see what happens in the next week. And then that's another little drip. And then a week goes by, and now not only are they noticing better energy, but they've lost 4 pounds or whatever. And that's typically where I feel the boldest. And I say, okay, those are amazing results. I know that you have friends who are looking for similar results. How would you feel about posting on Facebook? If I helped you write a post, and we could get you earning some extra bonuses. There's about $400 up for grabs if you have 3 friends that want to do this with you. And more often than not, they're like, wait, what? I can make $400? Yeah, you can make $400 if you have 3 friends. And they're like, oh yeah, I'll totally post on Facebook. And it's about removing the fear. We talked about fear on Saturday. It's about removing that fear. People are comfortable, for the most part, posting on Facebook, especially if it's not their words. That's why I say, I'll send you a post. Would you post it and tag me in it? And they're like, oh yeah, sure, that's not a big deal. But you have to be bold enough to ask the questions. And we have so many post templates. I'll post some of them in the group, so you guys have kind of those first posts. And then of course we just tweak it and adjust it for each person. But you have to ask. If you don't ever ask someone if they'd be willing to post, the answer is always going to be no. And if the answer is no, that's okay. You just say, oh, that's totally fine. I know that that's not for everyone, and you move on, and you give them the support they need to be successful. But you just have to be bold enough to ask the questions. That I've told these guys, I feel sick, that pit in your stomach when you really feel like you want to puke. Because of nerves or anxiety, or you feel anxious about something. So I felt that feeling in my stomach for like pretty continuously for the last couple months. And I crops up at specific times. And I have learned that pit in my stomach, that fear, when I lean in to whatever is causing me to feel that way, that's when amazing things happen. In the past, I would feel that and I would take that as a red flag, like, oh, this isn't right. And I would back off, and I stayed stagnant for so long. When I started leaning into that feeling and saying, okay, I'm feeling this because I'm scared. That means I need to do it scared and be bold. And I started leaning into that feeling. That's what the last couple months have been. And don't take that fear as a sign to back off. Take it as a sign to lean in, do something scary. And Marquet will ask you, but did you die? And the answer will be no. You are not going to die. People are still going to love you for asking them to post on Facebook. Even if they say no, it's not the end of the world, and we keep moving on. I just developed a brand new level 1 silver who's been with me for 2 years because I finally asked her to post on Facebook, and she's going to sign 6 this week. So that's amazing. And you just have to ask, be bold and ask the questions. I will put the scripting for those first posts in the Drink Pink Squad group, so you guys have those. And then you can always put me or Crystalline or Marquet or whoever your sponsor is in a 3-way message to help you get those posts written if you need help.
Okay, awesome. Yes. Just in addition to kind of what Tiffany had talked about, with doing the momentum movement and just kind of having that mindset shift and just kind of learning to, like she said, lean into that fear a little bit, is like we learned from Brooke and Emily, like it's not our job and it's not up to us to decide whether or not someone is going to say yes, but it is our job to ask them. It is our job to ask them if an extra $400 would bless their family this month. It is our job to ask them if they would be willing to share our story if they don't really have a story yet. It is our job to ask them, if they know anyone that could benefit from better energy, improved digestion, all of the wonderful things that Plexus helps with. So it is our job to ask those questions, and then we have to take the responsibility off ourselves. If they say no, that's okay. People will tell you no multiple times because it's not the right time for them. And then maybe 6 months down the road, you're going to talk to them and it will be the right time for them. You never know what's going on in someone's, you never know what's going on in someone's life. You never know their story. You can assume that but you never really know what they're dealing with, what their struggles are, where they're at, if they're struggling financially, or if they really just need the support community that Plexus provides, that our team provides. If they just need a support community of wonderful women who love each other and support each other and push each other to do our very best all the time, if that's really what they need, and if they get to feel better along the process, then so be it. And that's just an added benefit. So I'm super glad that Kathy kind of mentioned that frog. So, and Tiffany alluded to that as well. Just, slowly kind of introducing those ideas. That's how you develop leaders. Not everyone is going to just come out the bat and run full force. You're going to have some people that need to have just little tiny things introduced along the way, like having them do the post, having them put people in 3-way chats with you as their sponsor right off the bat, so that they can see how the conversation goes and they can see, oh, I don't have to be the expert here because I'm not the expert. That's why I have Marquet, who can answer these questions for them and help move the conversation along and help, get them started, so that I can see how quickly and how easy it is to help people start getting better and feeling better. So, that first post, throwing them right in 3-way messages, letting them see kind of how you walk through the conversation with people, letting them see, oh, they're going to get them on the phone and they're going to sign them up. And then when they're ready, getting that person on a 3-way call with you as you sign someone up for them, so that they can see how easy it is to get them on the phone, to onboard them, to get them going. And then, showing them, okay, so you have 3 people on your team now. You just made $260 plus whatever the fast start bonus is for silver. I don't remember. Is it 100? 100. So $360 you just made. If you can find 3 more people, it's another $160. So, you know, just they're like, oh yeah, I found 3. I can find 3 more. Or, you know, they have their one person, you know, showing them how easy it was for them to find that one person. A lot of times people are like, oh yeah, I could find 2 more, because it's not overwhelming. So you don't want to give them something that's super overwhelming, that's super big, that they're like, nah, I don't have time for that. You need to show them how simple and how easy it is to just find 3 people. And then when they find the 3 people, then that's when you work with them and do the silver 6 that we talked about. You know, 3 more people, and then they have 6 people on their team. And then you can help them find 4 more people to help get them super silver or senior silver. So see how you just kind of slowly, step by step, show them how they can start doing those things. That's exactly what I did with Candace Shoup, and a little bit with Kathy, but Kathy pretty much kind of does her thing and just rolls with it. She's just on it. So like with Candace, you know, I said, let's find 3 people. Okay, now you found 3, let's find 3 more and you'll earn this much money. Okay, now let's find 4 more and you're going to earn this much money. Okay, so now you have 10 people on your team. So now let's focus on helping get 1 or 2 of them to maybe share a post on Facebook. And when you get 10, or like when you get 10 people on your team, then, or I mean, when you get 20 people on your team, you're going to go gold. So see how like you slowly, just very incrementally at very small steps, help people like just do the things. So you just need to give them very simple tasks. Like I said, okay, we've got 3 people. So if we help find 3 more, you're going to make this much more money. Okay, now we found those 3. So now we need to find 4 more and you're going to make this much money. So just really, really simple steps. And literally, you are going to probably feel like you are doing most of the work, because you will. When they're brand new, you are going to be busy and you are going to do a lot of the work for them as they're slowly kind of developing and slowly learning and slowly getting to where they are going to be able to do it on their own. And they are going to be able to start following up with their own people. They're going to start talking to people about sharing. They're going to be doing all of those little things along the way. And you're going to give them the tools and the steps very simply, one by one, to get them there. The other thing.
Sorry, I'm pitching in.
Oh,
I
yep.
honestly plan on pretty much until someone is gold. I plan on doing the majority of that work. I think it takes that long. I think it takes someone doing something 10 to 20 times to start to feel comfortable with the process and how it works. And even after gold, you're still going to be very involved. But at that point, they should be okay, like for the most part, talking to people or getting them signed up. But it takes a while. It's not just like 3 or 4 people and getting them to silver and then they're good to go. Like when you're developing someone, you're developing them all the way. I mean, Crystalline's a senior Ruby. She's done it hundreds and hundreds of times, and we still go back and forth. Same with me. There's still times I'm like, Crystalline, I don't know what to do. Like, and so it never stops. But so agreed, you're going to be doing a lot of that, and don't be afraid of the work.
Yes, exactly. So, oh, go ahead, Mark.
Sorry. But then also remember, they need to be involved. It's not just you doing their work. You're doing their work to teach them and show them.
Yeah, so very much so. Involve them in every step of the way. That's why I said the 3-way chats are so good, because they can see and like really easily see how that third-party validation and how easy it is to just throw them in 3-way chats. And then when they have someone on their team willing to share, like, throw me in a 3-way chat, and then they're going to follow what you have taught them and what they have seen you do. But yes, it's a lot more. So I think the biggest thing that I've learned, and Tiff, you probably are feeling the same way, from what we had experienced at the beginning of our business and what we do now, I told Tiffany, I actually finally feel like this is a business, because I know the tools. It's a lot more work than I had ever done before, not in a bad way, but just like with developing leaders. And I just feel like we have the tools now to be able to develop a legacy team and to be able to continually develop those leaders, because we have those tools, we have those different things in place to help very simply get people sharing, get people to silver, then get them to the silver 6, then get them to senior silver, and then get them to gold, and then, you know, moving on forward. I'm going to throw Marquet on the spot really quickly. Hopefully she's okay with this. Will you talk about tap rooting on teams? Because this is something else that we've learned that I feel like we are doing a lot better with now, but I think tap rooting is so important.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, but first off, I have to show you this gigantic bear that's next to me. Like, she looks tiny, but Brecken, put your face by Everest. Look how big she is. Sorry. She's huge. Okay, anyway, yes, tap rooting.
Literally huge.
Literally huge. Okay, now you need to stop talking. Sorry. Okay, so yeah, tap rooting is so important, because how many times have we've signed people up, especially now that we're in momentum. Like, I know last night I was thinking, I'm like, oh my gosh, I forgot Ashley. Like, and I think, like, I forgot to even follow up with her. Now, she's an extrovert, so I know that if she's having issues, she's going to reach out to me. But the point is I forgot about her. So how many times are we signing people that we're forgetting about, where Crystalline is like, oh yeah, let me hop in and taproot them. And it gives that extra layer of support. Now, obviously, we're not just going to like rely on our people, our sponsors, to jump in and save our butts when we've forgotten.
I expect
Follow
you.
up with Ashley. Yeah. Yeah, Crystalline. We're yeah, Kathy, you need to pay attention to Kathy's people. She's expecting it. So, but also the beauty of taprooting is a lot of times they can connect with people that you're not able to connect with. And I know there's been times where, like, Abby and I have followed up with some of Abby's people, and we can't get them to share and all that stuff. And then Tiffany pops in, and they're like, oh, no, let me give you all the information. And this is like everything, where we can't even get them to respond. Like, so sometimes it's just that third, fourth party validation and
Hey,
follow
time out.
up where they're like, yeah,
I have no idea what tap rooting is. What does
good,
that
okay.
what does that
Yes.
mean?
Thank you for asking and not just
Yeah.
sitting there silently. I appreciate that. So taprooting is when we go down levels, like, so to get in contact with people below. So for example, so I have my level 1s, right? And then they have theirs, which are my level 2s, and then they have theirs, which are level 3s. And so taprooting is when we're going down levels and checking in with them and saying, hey, how are you doing? I'm like, we have a script, but I'm so-and-so, I'm part of your Plexus family. I just wanted to give you
So
this extra
Angie,
layer of
do you
support.
remember how I told you I had messaged like Whitney and Ashley and all of your newbies from last month? So that is taprooting. So it's just really honestly me messaging them saying, hey, my name is Crystalline. You know, I am part of your Plexus family. I'm good friends with Angie. I want to just make sure you know I'm here as a support for you. I'm happy to offer tips and tricks. So remember how me and Whitney talked a little bit about like my diet and what I do?
Right.
Did I remember? Yeah. So that was based, that's what taprooting is. We have some great scripting we can send you. But like taprooting and stuff, that's how I got Kathy to share. Because Kathy's not my level 1.
Yeah.
She is now, but she wasn't. So, I mean, just like giving them that added level of support and helping them learn that it's not, you know, that there are other people they can go to if they're having questions. Because I have had some people that they don't really feel super comfortable going to, say, like Abby with a question, but they do feel comfortable coming to me. So they'll come to me and ask me a question and I can help troubleshoot. Just the other day, Abby had a level 1 that we did not realize had never gotten her products and was like completely ready to cancel. Was like, I don't want to do it anymore. I still haven't gotten my products. I was in a meeting at work. I was like, oh my gosh, I am so, so sorry. Let's get on the phone. Let's figure out what happened with the products. I got her in a three-way message with Tiffany because I was in a meeting at work. Tiffany got her on the phone with customer service. We got her a group of products like expedited to her. We adjusted her subscription and we saved the sale for Abby.
Right.
So it's just like those types of things where they know who we are as a family and as a team, that we can kind of help work together to troubleshoot. And like I said, give that added level of support. And honestly, some people, I've had a few people that their sponsor was a little bit nervous to ask them about sharing.
Yeah.
So when I go in and Taproot, it's something that I bring up. And I have had a couple of people that are like, oh yeah, I'll do that. I had somebody on
It's
Candace's
not as
team
scary.
just the other
Yeah,
day.
it's not as scary
Mhm.
if you did it maybe than somebody.
Ex-
I mean, and
Exactly.
it's scary for me. Like, it's getting easier the more that I'm doing it. But yeah, if it's coming from somebody other than their good friend that signed them up, maybe it's not as salesy, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, and it's not as scary too for the sponsor when they can see, okay, so Crystalline's going to reach out to Marquet and just check on her and see how things are going with their products. Well, maybe Marquet is absolutely loving her products. And so I'm like, oh my gosh, I know, like, I would love for more people to know about your story. You know, if I helped you write a post, would you be willing to post it on social media? And then, you know, if anyone decides that it's a right fit for them, then you just earn the bonuses. And
Right.
people are like, oh yeah, I don't have to do anything other than post and put them in three-way messages. I can do that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
so taprooting is just a great way to kind of help grow your tree of support, help people, you know, realize and feel that it's more of a support system than just like me and Marquet.
Okay.
Like there's more people there to help Marquet than just me. So that's kind of what taprooting is. And I will include the message that I typically send to people in the Drink Pink Squad group as well when Tiffany posts those messages.
Okay.
So, okay,
So-
Marquez, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah.
Thank
No,
you.
you're good. And sometimes taprooting, there's like a lot of communication with their sponsor, and sometimes there's not. Like I don't know, sometimes I think of it as, yeah, like they were their friends, like we're just gonna use Abby. Yeah, sure, so and so was Abby's friend. And that's good and great and all, but this affects my business as well, not only Abby's business, but my business. And obviously,
Yeah, because
not,
sorry, Marquez, like
okay.
Marquez needs to help develop Abby and help Abby be successful so that Marquez is successful, just like what she was saying.
Right.
So like you want all of the people on your team to be successful because then your success will follow.
Right.
Yep.
I mean,
I'm done.
Yeah, right. No, just kidding. So yeah, that's just kind of the beauty, and not even just the beauty, but the serious importance of taprooting. And that's really, I feel like, when we learn taprooting in that May Momentum movement, that's when things really, like with follow-ups and taprooting, like things exploded. So, because it's not just a one-time sign up, obviously. And I know I was guilty of that. You sign them up and you're like, hey, great, they're going to love the product. I love the product. But that's not how life works, really. So follow up and taprooting. Did I get everything you wanted on that?
Mm-hmm. I think so, except that I kind of cut in. So sorry.
You did beautifully. You said those words that were in my mind beautifully.
Connection. We have a connection. Okay. So, like I said, we will give you guys the scripting that we use. Kathy may already have quite a bit of it for Momentum Movement. But we will post all of it that we have been using, that we have found the success with. And one other thing I've kind of learned with doing this, the Momentum Movement and just the verbiage and things like that, for whatever reason, the way that Brooke and Emily word things works. So I don't know what it is about their verbiage, but people respond well to it. And people are like, oh yeah, I can do that. Like if you talk about the referral bonus program for product users, it kind of takes the business side out of it for people. And they're like, oh yeah, I'm just using the products, but I wouldn't mind earning a couple extra $100. So it's all about kind of the verbiage that you use. And just really, one other thing I want to talk about too, that just came to my mind, is talking less. So that's one thing that I have learned a lot about, is not trying to control the conversation, in that I'm asking very specific questions, but then I'm listening. So like when I've gotten on the phone with people, like for instance, on Saturday, you know, Candace says that she's the poser and I'm the closer. So like she'll get me on the phone with people, and, you know, I will talk to them and I'll just be like, tell me a little bit about yourself, you know, and they'll tell me a little bit. I'm like, okay, like my kids are in second grade too. That's so awesome. See how that kind of just creates a little bit of a connection with them. And then, you know, when I start talking to them, I'm like, so Candace mentioned that you were interested in possibly trying triplex. Can you tell me a little bit about your overall health? Tell me about your digestion. You know, do you deal with constipation? Are you running to the bathroom a lot? Do you deal with acid reflux? How's your energy? You know, very specific things. And I've actually had people that I was going to sign on just like a healthy weight basics combo, because they only are telling me they want to have weight loss. And then I actually get them talking and I find out they don't poop for like 3 weeks at a time. And I'm like, oh, good heavens, you don't need the weight loss combo right now. Like, you need triplex. Let's fix the pooping. And then the weight loss will follow, you know? So just the more you, oh, sorry, go ahead.
So you're asking about energy, gut, weight loss.
Energy, gut, weight loss. I ask about brain fog sometimes too. Do you feel like your brain is foggy a lot? So kind of those big kind of key things for like the candida overgrowth. And then most of the time, if I can get them talking, I'm like, oh my gosh, I am so sorry. You know, I used to deal with horrible IBS where I would, you know, have to run to the bathroom after eating almost everything. So I know how miserable that is. I'm so sorry. Let me tell you about the group of products that have completely changed that for me. And then I go into a brief overview of Microbiome Slim, ProBio 5, and BioCleanse, and how they work. And more often than not, when I can tell them how they work and they understand that, they're sold. They were like, oh my gosh, yeah, I need that. I've had very few instances where people are like, you know, most of the time, once they can understand the value of the products and understand how they're going to help them, that is when they're like, yes, I need this. Let's do it. So yeah, just asking the questions and then honestly just listening and just, you know, connecting with them. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry that that's going on. Or like someone who's dealing with something different than what I've been dealing with. Like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I know someone who's dealt with something just like that. Let me tell you a little bit about my friend Deanna, who's also a type 1 diabetic. You know, so how you can kind of pull in those third-party validations a little bit, even if it's not something that you've dealt with personally, but how you can kind of make those connections through that third-party validation. It makes you a lot more human. It helps people feel that you're really there to help them, that you really want them to feel better. And then, you know, making sure that they know that you're there as a support system to them, and that you and or their sponsor will be checking in with them on a weekly basis for the first month. You know, just kind of introducing that onboarding program as well, after you get them signed up on the phone. So yeah, we will get the scripting in there for everybody. Angie and Kathy, do you guys have any specific questions about anything that we can kind of touch base with, help you troubleshoot with?
The biggest one for me is it's twofold. Is you know, when I talk about putting the frog in the water and is, like you said, listening. Like, I'm so into wanting to tell them all about the products that we have that can help them, because I'm so excited that I forget to connect with them, or I forget to ask them these questions. And that's where I'm at. So like a particular gal who's from high school, I know I've been watching her, she's been trying to lose weight. And so I just honestly was just like, so what are you doing? You know, how are you losing the weight? What are you using a program? What foods? And so we just were having a conversation about that, because I felt like it was kind of like, you know, when who was it that gave an example of they wanted to get their friend on Plexus, but they didn't realize that their friend had already signed up for Plexus like a month before that. You know, they just weren't watching their story. So I was just reviewing her, and she's doing Optiva and a couple other things. And I think when you start asking people questions, you kind of find out what they're doing. And so and then she, you know, there's this one where you get one food to eat, and I'm like, well, what's that food? And then what have you found that helps you? And so I just talked about her. And so I said, I'm not going to talk about me. I'm just going to ask a lot of questions, and I'm just going to leave it at that. And then later I'll tap back in and say, you know, I'll ask her, hey, how things are going, because I've already made that connection with her about what she's doing. And I did that with a secretary at the middle school, because I saw her a couple weeks ago, and she's like, yeah, I'm doing Weight Watchers, everything's great. And I'm like, great. So then I sent her a thing saying, hey, thinking of you, send an email, thinking of you, how's it going? You know, things going well for you? And she's like, well, you know what? She said, since I've talked to you, I've had a 2-week block of no weight loss, and I'm not for sure what to do. So I was like, well, you know, I'll be more than happy to send you the pink drink with 100 control, because that might help you get over some cravings. And so I sent those to her. So I found that listening to people, and like you said, just putting the fish in the water and just leaving it and not bugging them, you know, letting them, kind of like what Tiff says too, you know, they're going to come back at one point or another. They're going to hit a block somewhere, and they're going to go, okay, I've hit a block, you know, what's the next step? Because that's what I've done, is even just asking this friend about what she's doing with the Optiva, you know. And then last night with the gal with volleyball, she's doing something I can't remember, and just listening to what she's doing and taking, and then I just kind of shared a little bit about what I'm doing, because maybe at a certain point they might find a block there too, and then they come back. So and then I do a volleyball league, and we finally were able to play last night, and I can't tell you how many people came up to me and said, wow, you look so great, what are you doing? And I almost wish I had like a little slim thing for everybody, but I was just like, oh, you know, I'm doing with Plexus, and you know, I'll see them again next Tuesday. So I'll be like, hey, you know, did you guys research the Plexus? And I mean, I had one girl look on Candida growth, because I said, I think you have a lot of buildup of Candida. And when she did that, she's like, oh my gosh, I think you're absolutely right. And she was like, let's get started. So, but my biggest one is to hold back just a little bit, and just ask questions, and just listen and make a connection. Because then I do care about them. I don't care about the final sale. I care about them getting healthy. And I think when you listen, ask the right questions, and just leave it for a little bit, they know, and you come back, they're like, oh, they do really care about what I'm doing, and really want to see that. Because I think that's how we get over I'm not a salesperson. You know, I'm yes, it will benefit me, but you know, if Target was doing it, Walmart was doing it, and I found something that worked for me, I'd be sharing it. Just like the Built Bars, you know, I don't get a kickback for the Built Bars, you know, but I know it's a great product, and I know it helps me. So why wouldn't I want to share that? And that's why I tell people when I do the Plexus, it's like, I'm just so excited about how much it's changed my life, that I know it could do for you too. So anyways, that's the 2 takeaways I've learned from learning to try to get now I'm trying to share that with I've got 5 gals who I want to go silver. And so I'm trying to figure out a way to help teach them what I'm learning now. So it's kind of like I'm learning and running with it and trying it all at the same time. But, you know, it's like, it'd be nice if I could learn it, do it, and then share it. But I feel like I've got to do it all at the same time. So I'm learning along with them.
Yeah, it doesn't work like that. You
Well,
have to do it all at the same.
Yeah, and part of the reason I shared that video from Celeste Quinn yesterday in the chat was I love that the KISS thing, like keep it stupid simple. Like don't overthink it. The more you overthink it, the more complicated it becomes, and I feel like the less success you have. The more simple you can make it with like listening, talking to people, you know, helping them understand and know that you really care about them, and you know how much the products have changed your lives. Just like Kathy said, you know, if there was a great thing that you found at Walmart and it helped you feel better, you would tell everybody about it. So there's really no difference. It's just that our products are very life-changing, and the thing at Walmart may or may not be life-changing. You know what I mean?
So Kristen, you
So-
missed Gary Piperinen. Remember the guy who has high
Yes.
blood pressure and he can't take the triplex, so we put him on Ease instead.
Mhm.
He did his blood pressure, and when I went to see him, he's only gonna do it for what, a week and a half now. He's had the lowest blood pressure he's had ever since. I mean, the best blood
I
pressure.
love that so
Yeah.
much.
So
That's
he says
amazing.
the sugar's not quite there yet, but his blood pressure is down, the lowest it's ever
That
been.
is so awesome.
Can
See,
I want to
doesn't that
interject?
just make you like so happy you
Gives me-
shared with him?
Gives me goosebumps
I love it. Sorry, Marque, go
because
ahead.
he had a heart attack
No.
and stroke last year.
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
Yes. We had to talk a lot about
Yeah.
what we could put him on. So I love that so much.
So no, I just wanted to point out just kind of where when we, shut up and let people talk, everybody wants to feel special. Everybody wants their story heard.
Yep.
And a lot of people like talking about themselves. That's just people. And since we're in the people business, that is vital to our business, is allowing them to feel heard. And then when we can learn to use that to advantage and pick up on cues of what it is that they're sharing, then that's when we're like, oh, now I know exactly what products you're needing because they have opened up and told us.
Mhm.
So that was the first thing. The other thing I wanted to mention was, Kathy, when you mentioned, have you researched Plexus? That's a little scary to me, just because you know how everything has those like great reviews and those bad reviews. A lot of people. So I have a sister-in-law, and I love her, bless her heart, but she will always Google what's the bad part about milk, and somehow she's like now thinks that milk causes cancer and osteoporosis. Like, you know what I mean? So it's like we don't want them to research too much. Like as much as the information we can feed to them, the better, because then they're going to start saying, does Plexus cause cancer?
Yeah, that's when you can like throw in and give that third-party tool of like the triplex video or the microbiome video. And then I typically will just ask people, does that sound like something that would benefit you? And most people are like, oh my gosh, yes. So yeah, I think the research is great because I'm definitely a big research person. But yeah, you just have to do it with that, understanding that people probably will find negative things if they're just doing it on their own. So if you try to help feed them that information, it does help quite a bit, because honest to goodness, if you can just get them started on the products, they're going to feel better, and the other research won't matter because they'll be like, well, I feel great. You know what I mean? So yeah.
And there are those.
I've done it. I've looked up Plexus, and I've looked at, the reviews and things. I've
So
looked
that's
also
when
at the multi-leveling marketing. I guess for me, I want to know what's out there that's bad. So that way, if those folks do that and come back, I can talk to them about it. But she actually researched on her own. She just looked it up herself, but she looked up the Candida yeast, and she took this
Good.
little quiz, and she's like, I think you're right. I think I do have that Candida crap, whatever is going on. And she doesn't have a thyroid. She doesn't have a thyroid. So she said that the thyroid mirrors the Candida. So she took this little quiz, and it says that she definitely has some buildup of Candida. But Marque, so I have a gal whose sister does a lot of research and a lot of negative, and I haven't done a 3-way call yet with her, just because I'm trying to get my ducks in a row so I'm prepared for that conversation. Because she is just like her sister in the sense of gut health. And so she's like, I think my sister can benefit, but you have to know she researches everything, blah, 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 and so I'm like, okay, this might be a little bit of just trying to get her in. But what's going to help is her sister's been doing it now for almost a month. So
That's perfect.
and has had great things happening for her. So
Yep. And I love
she's
how
pooping.
that is such a blessing.
Right?
Yeah.
For those that don't poop, haven't pooped for like
We know.
weeks. Yeah.
We know. Yeah. And I love how you kind of guided her on what to research, because there are the people like, I'm like that. I am the worst person to sell to. Like, salespeople come up to me and I'm like, yeah, I need you to go away. Like, I'm not nice, like, at all, because I'd rather just dig in and do
Remember,
it
she told
myself.
me no for a long time. Remember? Sorry, I'm washing my hands. She
Yeah,
told me
and
no
then
for a long time.
yeah, and I'm not kidding you. When I finally was like, yeah, okay, and I got all the stuff, I literally ripped it up and I was like, stupid Crystalline, like, I'm not gonna sell any of this crap. I'm not gonna get roped into this. Like, I shredded it and now I'm like obviously regretting it because we used to get good stuff, right?
Yep.
But yeah, it's so, I love how you guided her and said, hey, you should research Candida. Like, and then that way you're touching in on her. I know you need to research, and this is what it is you should research.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I totally agree though. I mean, I'm still a newbie. Like a gal once, I found the interactive catalog because, you know, because I talk about the triplex, but she's like, oh, I just want to overall, like, what do they sell in general? And I said, there's not a lot of products, but I was able to find the interactive catalog and was able to send that to her. But I have a copy too. So that way when it comes across again, I can do that. And I've been saving a lot of material to share with people who not so much auditory, but more visual.
Mm-hmm.
And I love how Plexus on their product things tells exactly what's in it and what they're using it for and why they're using it. And I don't know of anybody that does that. I mean, they just give you a list of what's in there, but I love how Plexus took it above and beyond and said, here's what's in it, here's what it is, and here's why we put it in there, because it's going to do this. So yeah. I think that's amazing. It's easy to get behind. Okay, so, you know, we talk about salesmen and what we're salesmen and stuff like that. After we had a met on Saturday, I had to go get a vacuum cleaner. So I went to the RC Willey that was in Layton. I think it's just new.
Yeah,
for you guys.
New. Yeah.
And so I go up there and the vacuum cleaners are right by the appliances. And there's like 6 or 7 sales guys with 3 of them on their phones scrolling. And I walk up to them and say, hey, can anybody help me with the vacuum cleaners? Because I don't want to break this one, because I was trying to figure out how to take off this thing. And they literally looked at each other. 3 of the guys that were on the phones didn't even look at me. And so I got so upset. I just said, you know what? Feel free to continue holding up the counter. I will go do the vacuums myself. You know, apparently you guys don't want a commission. So, you know, apparently vacuum cleaners aren't the way to, you know, kind of thing. And I just went and left. And one of the guys called me. He's like, no, you know, let me help you. And I'm like, no, I think you're busier holding up the counter than you are with helping me. So feel free to go back and hang out with your buddies and hold up that counter. And, but anyways, long story short, he was really a nice guy. And as I was leaving, there was a floor salesman manager there, and I just told him what happened. And then I said, hey, you know, this guy was great. But what it reminded me of is that I am completely different from those guys over there. You know, and I remember forever how I felt needing help and no one wanted to help me. You know, that they weren't they were just like, you're not a sale. So, you know, I don't know why they didn't want to help, but it was like, we don't make any money on vacuum cleaners. I don't know. But it reminded me that that's not why I do Plexus, you know, to make sure that I make connections with people and follow up with them. And Tiffany's great. Everybody that have signed up, I send them a thank you card. And the first few people, the 10 people that signed up with me, I actually sent them a water bottle. I looked on Amazon. I looked a couple different places to find some really cool water bottles and sent them a thank you card and a water bottle to know. And they're still, I mean, I don't hear from them, so I'm assuming that things are going well. And and then all the rest of everybody I've just sent thank you cards to, but really, you know, handwriting them out and thanking them for it. Cause I think I want to make that connection. I don't want to be holding up a counter. You know,
I love it.
And Plexus has changed my life, you know, and I want that for people too. So
yeah, I love it. And I feel the same way about salesmen. And so in my head, when I'm like, I am not a salesman, I have to remind myself, I'm not a salesman. I'm more of a sharesman. And I think
that's
like when
idea.
you change it to a sharesman, which is a total made up word, but I make up a lot of words, so just go with it, people. Like, to me, I'm like, yeah, I'm not selling you anything, because really you're just sharing what is going to help them. And
Yep.
when you're taking it away from cells and like push, that's when people are going to be like, oh, they actually care.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, I do
So.
care. Well, anyways, that's not about me, but this, you guys, this helped a lot. I mean, it just gives me an extra boost when we meet like this. I don't know about you guys, but it gets me excited and it gets me wanting to make phone calls. Going, I gotta get going. You know, it does, because I was kind of like, oh, and Saturday was great, but these last few days, I just kind of like, I'm calling, I'm doing all that stuff, but I don't know. I sometimes lose that excitability sometimes that goes along with it.
Yep. I get that. I do.
But no, I really want to, I'm keeping my numbers too, because I'm going to go to the St. George thing too. So I'm not a prize person, but I'm like going, you know, no offense, but my lady that does my pedicure and my nails, manicure, she'd be mad at me if I went to somebody else. So I can't do the pedicure thing.
No, I get that. I do.
And she's one of them. I'm trying to get her going, and because she could definitely benefit from it. And but she reminds me of Marquet. You know, nope. So 40 minutes of her doing my nails, I'm like, I can't say one word about plexus, because she's like, no. Yeah, she's like,
She'll come around.
That's what I figured.
She'll come around.
You know, she, you know, I really didn't share with people. You know, it's amazing to me how a couple of people, when people lose weight and they change their life, it's almost like this big secret. You know, it's almost like they don't share. They just want people to say, wow, look, you did this. But we never ever share with each other.
It's a process.
Mhm.
People don't get that it's a process.
Yep. They expect to
time.
know.
They
Mhm.
expect overnight results. So yeah, that's why with doing this life coaching with Christy and kind of talking about my goals and stuff, she said it was a good idea. I mean, I worry about people getting annoyed with all my Instagram posts and showing me working out and eating and blah, blah, blah. Oh, sorry, sis. But she pointed out that it is a process, and it shows people the whole process of getting.
Yeah.
100% it does. Yeah.
I thought it was funny how Christy she was showing the Joy Omi, and her husband, was it her husband that said, "You're just wearing a bathrobe. What are you doing? You're only in your bathrobe."
Yeah.
I thought that was funny. So yeah, it's a nice bathrobe. Mine's old. I look like an old lady in my bathrobe. It's one of those ones you zip up the front. So, but it is, I need to show more of that. So Thursday night will be awesome. And I think Thursday nights is when I'm going to be doing my lives and doing either Zooms or lives for people. And then they know, hey, Kathy's on Thursday nights. And it becomes like, you know, consistent. But I saw somebody at the eye doctor yesterday, and she says, I haven't seen her for a while. She's a fellow teacher at one of the middle schools. And she said, I've been watching your lives and you look great. Now I get to see you in person. She's like, you look fantastic. And then she says, I've been watching your lives on Facebook. Had no idea. So you never know who's watching.
Yep. You never know. That's exactly right.
Yep. All right. Well, I guess I better
Ange,
get back to work.
you're good. Ange, did you have anything specific? Any questions?
My daughter just spilled beads all over my kitchen floor.
Oh, thanks, Lydia. Thanks, Sister Bug.
I feel so bad now because Aaron made this thing and he's been asking me to iron it all morning long, and I'm like, I don't have time, and then she just dumped it all over the kitchen floor.
Ah, dang it.
No,
Oh,
I don't have any
Tinkers.
questions, but this was helpful, and I learned that I need to ask more questions and listen, because I am really quick to just triplex everybody, and that's, I mean, it does fix everything and it's a great starting point, but I'm really bad at asking people what their goals are and just going straight to do triplex.
I love that you said triplex people, because that's what I do too most of the time. I want to just throw them right on triplex because it does help everybody.
It worked.
So,
Yeah.
So
yep.
that's
Okay.
what I'm going to try working on.
Okay. Awesome.
Talking
Sounds
to people. So
great. Okay. Well,
Okay.
just so you guys know, Kathy is doing a